తమన్నా. నటనకు నిర్వచనం, అందానికి కొలమానం.
చిరు 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 చినుకై కురిసావే ఓయావే.
తన అద్భుత రూపలావణ్యాలతో, అమోఘమైన నటనా పటిమతో యావత్ దేశంలోనే అగ్రశ్రేణి నటిగా అందరి అభిమానాలు అందుకుంటున్న ఓ సహజ నటి.
నాది ఇన్ఫాక్చుయేషన్ కాదు, ఐ లవ్ యూ బావా అని చెప్పాలనుకున్నాను. కానీ అందరి ముందు దాన్ని డిస్టర్బెన్స్ అంటే తట్టుకోలేకపోయాను.
నటన పట్ల అంకిత భావం, ఎలాంటి భేషజాలు లేని జీవితం, పెదాలపై చెరగని చిరునవ్వు, ఈ నటీమణికి పెట్టని ఆభరణాలు. బడా నిర్మాతల నుండి లైట్ బాయ్ వరకు మనింటి అమ్మాయిగా అందరి అభిమానాల్ని మెండుగా అందుకున్న ఈ పుత్తడి బొమ్మ బాహుబలి అవంతికగా ఈ అవని అంచుల వరకు చేరి తన పేరుని విశ్వవ్యాప్తం చేసుకుంది. అగ్ర హీరోలను సైతం తన అభిమానులుగా మార్చుకున్న తమన్నా ఈ ఫాదర్స్ డే సందర్భంగా మనతో ఎన్నో విషయాలు పంచుకోనున్నారు. A big welcome to the gorgeous తమన్నా గారు.
హాయ్ తమన్నా.
హలో అండి, ఎలా ఉన్నారు?
బాగున్నాను. విన్నారు కదా, ఇప్పుడు మీరు మా ఏవీలో చూసింది తమన్నా గురించి. వాట్ ఈస్ ద మీనింగ్ ఆఫ్ తమన్నా? అందరికి ఉన్న తమన్నా, మిమ్మల్ని చూడాలన్న తమన్నా. సో మీ తమన్నా ఫాదర్స్ డే రోజు ఏంటి తమన్నా?
It's just, first of all, I'm very happy that I'm with him on Father's Day. Normally, నేను ఎక్కడో షూటింగ్ లో బిజీ ఉంటాను. అఫ్ కోర్స్ ఇలాంటి పరిస్థితిలో ఇది జరగాలి అని అనుకోలేదు. బట్ ఇప్పుడు ప్రస్తుతానికి వరల్డ్ మొత్తం దీంతో ఆల్ ఫైటింగ్ ఇట్ రైట్ నౌ. సో బట్ ఐమ్ హ్యాపీ. అట్లీస్ట్ ఈ రోజు నేను ఇంట్లో ఉన్నాను, అమ్మ నాన్నతో టైం స్పెండ్ చేస్తున్నాను.
Hi sir, Mr. Bhatia, namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today. So how are you feeling today I'm good, thank you. How are you feeling today on Father's Day? We are so happy to see you. Our audiences have never met. They say the man in the life, the first one is the father. So the first time we are being able to see Mr. Bhatia, Tamannah Bhatia's father.
It is so nice to be with Tamanna and to be talking to you guys. It's a really happy occasion. It's quite interesting.
That's very nice. We are so happy that you could join us. So the very first question, I will start with you, as today is all about the fathers. And so the word Tamanna, how is it that transpired? Why did you name her Tamanna?
Okay, now to start, the meaning of the word Tamanna means a desire, to desire,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
or to want.
So your Tamanna was to have a girl,
Yes.
and then Tamanna was born, so you named her Tamanna as your desire or your wish was fulfilled.
Right, absolutely.
That is such a lovely thought. Thank you for sharing that with us today. తమన్నా గారు, సో మీకు ఒక చిన్న క్వశ్చన్. మీకు, మీ డాడ్కి, మీ మదర్ ఎలాగో ఫ్రేమ్ లో లేరు కాబట్టి మాకు చెప్పేయచ్చు సీక్రెట్లు ఏమన్నా ఉంటే. మీరు తండ్రి చాటు బిడ్డ, తల్లి చాటు బిడ్డ? ఎందుకంటే ఎవరి చాటు బిడ్డ అయితే రెండో వాళ్ళతో దెబ్బలు గట్టిగా తిన్నారని అర్థం చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి. So I will have to ask you also, so that I confirm whatever she says. As she was growing up, was she daddy's doll or was she mommy's doll? It looks like in our conversation it's come out that she's more of daddy's doll and daddy's the one. So somebody or the other they're scared of, as one parent does bad cop good cop as they're growing up and tries to discipline them out, right? So Tamanna, tell me, ఎవరితో దెబ్బలు ఎక్కుతున్నారు మీరు?
దెబ్బలు ఎవరు ఇవ్వట్లేదు నన్ను.
ఎవరితో దెబ్బలు తినలేదా?
ఇద్దరు చాలా బాగానే బట్ డెఫినెట్ గా నేను తండ్రి చాటు బిడ్డ, ఖచ్చితంగా
డాడీస్ డాల్.
అల్లుడు గారు,
ఎప్పుడొచ్చారు రండి.
తండ్రి చాటు బిడ్డ కదా. సో ఫాదర్స్ డే రోజు ఐ ఆస్క్ యూ అన్ ఇంట్రెస్టింగ్ క్వశ్చన్ టు యూ తమన్నా అబౌట్ యువర్ ఫాదర్. మీరు యాజ్ అ చైల్డ్ you just journeyed us through your childhood, right? Today you're an adult, మీరు పెద్దవారయ్యి, you are earning on your own and you are known to be a highly paid artist professional. అండ్ మీరు ఈరోజు ప్రపంచంలో ఏం కొనుక్కోవాలన్నా మీరు కొనుక్కోగలరు, మీరు చేసుకోగలరు. కానీ చిన్నప్పటి తమన్నా ఇప్పుడు తమన్నా తండ్రి చాటు బిడ్డే కాబట్టి, యువర్ డాడీస్ డాల్ కాబట్టి, ఇఫ్ యూ వర్ టు గో బ్యాక్ ఇన్ టు యువర్ చైల్డ్హుడ్ and something that you cherish that your dad always used to give you or you seek from your father, what would you ask on Father's Day?
I think everything, for me, I also work with my father. Because we are constantly, we are interacting on from the moment we wake up. Because, and this is not something that is now. Idi chinnapadi nunchi na career lo enter ayinappadi nunchi ayan guidance valla ఇప్పుడు అందరూ చెప్తుంటారు that I have conducted myself well, or if I'm focused, or whatever compliments I get my way, largely because of the upbringing that I got from my father, and also because chinnappudu, especially chinnappudu, I was exposed to people double my age. So that point of time I didn't know how to conduct myself or how I should be or what's right, what's wrong. So a lot of my
Your father guided you.
Yeah, but it was my interaction with him, and even the same, it continues even now. Because whenever I'm shooting and stuff, I go into a very creative space where I'm focusing on my characters. But by time ప్రపంచంలో జరుగుతుంది, నేను ఎప్పుడు నాన్నగారితో మాట్లాడినప్పుడు నాకు తెలుస్తుంది. So I'm chala, he's very he's quite the knowledge junkie, and he loves watching. He keeps himself absolutely abreast. So for me, he's my Google base.
He's your Google base. Oh.
Google.
If you had to take a gift or if you had to give a gift on Father's Day, which is invaluable, ante daniki vela kattalemu, priceless antamu, మీరు చిన్న బుజ్జి తమన్నాగా అయినా సరే, పెద్ద తమన్నాగా అయినా సరే, మీరు ఏం అడుగుతారు, ఏమి ఇస్తారు?
What would I give?
What would you take or ask, and what would you give? That is priceless, cannot be bought with money, or can be bought with very little money.
I think time. I think time is the one thing.
That's interesting. Time. That's a lovely answer.
I also feel like we all, even though the fact remains that sometimes we are in one house and we are all we are doing our own thing. It's not like because we live in one house, we are into each other's space all the time. But there is this physical presence ఉంటుంది. Okay, నేను ఈ రూమ్ లో కూర్చున్నా కూడా ఆ పక్కన రూమ్ లో వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారని ఆ కంఫర్ట్ ఉంటుంది. And that sense of security, that వాళ్ళు అక్కడ కూర్చుంటున్నారు, వాళ్ళు అక్కడ నాకు ఏదైనా మాట్లాడాలంటే నేను మాట్లాడగలుగుతాను. So I feel like that is something I really value, and I would want more of that, and I would want more of their time, and I want to give also more of my time, because actually honest గా చెప్పాలంటే లాక్డౌన్ వల్ల నేను ఎంత సేపు ఇంట్లో టైం స్పెండ్ చేయగలుగుతున్నాను. లేకపోతే months together నేను ట్రావెల్ చేస్తుంటాను, and most of my career has been travel. So ఇంట్లో ఉండడం ఇలా ఉండడం అనేది నాకు లిటరలీ 15 years తర్వాత.
సో లాక్డౌన్ వల్ల మంచి జరిగింది అనుకుందాం. దిస్ ఇస్ అ పాజిటివ్ థింగ్ దట్ హస్ హ్యాపెండ్, దట్ వి కెన్ టెల్
there is a silver lining on every cloud, because of course ఇలాంటి పరిస్థితిలో ఇలా టైం స్పెండ్ చేయాలని కోరుకోలేదు, బట్ ఇలా కుదిరింది. So I'm thankful for the time I have.
Yeah. Because the positive learnings, let us say COVID learnings, so the positive learnings are on Father's Day, what would you like to give, what would you like to take? The invaluable piece is samayam, time. So that is a wonderful take home lesson for all, take home valuable thing that a lot of our audiences will really appreciate what you said. When Tamanna was growing up, every parent, like every father, when we watch our children growing up, we pick up some things, and we remember that the memory stays with us, as riding the cycle, or she always used to wait at a certain time, or when you came back from work or from office, like that. Do you have any memory of Tamanna when she was growing up, like from a toddler to a child, that you can share with us?
Okay, it was like, it was a weekend thing. So a Saturday was a shopping day for them. And she would, I would accompany her. Only I go along with her to the market, and mostly visit a jewelry shop and pick up. And she would pick up her trinkets or a piece of jewelry that she would like, and I would buy it for her, and then we are back home. That was the day she used to wait for, Saturday.
Saturday.
Every weekend, every Saturday was a shopping day for Tamanna. Along with that was the most
that's the memorable thing. That so
memorable
Tamanna,
thing for me.
that's so precious. He just shared with us that Saturday రోజు కోసం మీరు వెయిట్ చేసేవారంట, శనివారం వచ్చిన తర్వాత ట్రింకెట్స్ కి మీ ఫాదర్ షాపింగ్ తీసుకెళ్లేవారంట. Is that where you picked up your penchant for jewelry and business? Because recently మేము విన్నాం మీరు జ్యువెలరీ లైన్ కూడా ఓపెన్ చేశారని. Would you attribute చిన్నప్పటి మెమరీస్ కి అటాచ్ అయి ఉన్నాయా, లేకపోతే బీయింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ అ బిజినెస్ ఫ్యామిలీ మీ ఫాదర్ దగ్గర నుంచి అలవర్చుకున్నారు? Where did you get that interest for jewelry? Was it from this Saturday?
Yes, I always had that fascination for jewelry. So any piece of jewelry would intrigue me in its own fineness of the way it is made, and how it looks, and whom it would suit and whom it may not suit. So that kind of natural affinity for jewelry in general, I always had.
So do you pick Tamanna's jewelry? Tamanna, do you let your father?
It's my dad's business.
It is my business. I'm into the manufacture of diamond jewelry, and also I retail.
Okay.
I have a store. We retail diamond jewelry, and I take personal interest to design and choose the final look and feel of the jewelry, and then that's how. And this has been my old as long as I can remember. I always loved jewelry, and from time I got married, I practically helped my wife to choose whatever she wanted to buy, and then it was always there.
And then me, of course.
And then, of course,
Then you, of course. I was going to say, then your daughter, of course.
ఏమైపోతుంది పిండాకుడు, కాస్త మంట పెంచు. దరిద్ర పెదవా, చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి చదువు సందెలు మానేసి మగాళ్ళ తయారయ్యా. అయినా నీకు రెండో పిల్లలు చేసుకోవాల్సిన కర్మేంటే? నోరు మూసుకోండి.
The audiences know that Tamanna has recently turned to business, and how long has it been, Tamanna, since you started?
It's actually my father's business.
You have just taken that over?
Yeah.
And then she from time to time she always participated in terms of the ideas and the concepts and the designs that we would create. So she would, whenever time permitting, she would come to the store and give her ideas and suggestions about what new designs, new concepts that we can come up with. That's how she has been participating.
That is her journey into business. And who was the disciplinarian, sir? Were you, going with your wife to discipline, once you, once her? Was that the balance with your children as a father?
I guess that we tried to balance between ourselves. It's not consciously done, but somehow we found our placement and accordingly dealt with the children, or particularly now talking about Tamanna.
Okay.
So basically, we have been, we are liberal in approach, and looking at whatever a child would need or ask for. It was always an open. It was never no requirement or demand was no kind of thing. There was everything could be considered, whatever would come up. So we would straight away never say no for a thing. Maybe sometimes my wife may say no, or sometimes I may say no. It would always depend on.
That was a perfect parenting. Tamanna గారు, ఈ విషయం మిమ్మల్ని అడగాలి. ఏంటంటే Tamanna is very, very focused. and through our interviews and also through a lot of people that you have worked with, మీతో పనిచేసిన వాళ్ళు చాలా మందితో కూడా మేము మాట్లాడినప్పుడు కానీ వాళ్ళు మీ గురించి చెప్పినప్పుడు కానీ ఎన్నో ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ లో మెగాస్టార్ చిరంజీవి గారి దగ్గర నుంచి దర్శకేంద్రుడు రాఘవేంద్రరావు గారి వరకు, తర్వాత మీతో వర్క్ చేసిన కొలీగ్స్ కానీ, టెక్నీషియన్స్ కానీ, డైరెక్టర్స్ కానీ, అబ్బో ఆవిడ ఫోకస్ మాత్రం సూపర్ ఫోకస్ అండి. ఎందుకంటే వర్క్ అయిన తర్వాత కూడా జిమ్ కి వెళ్ళి ఆవిడ వర్కౌట్ చేసి అప్పుడే ఆవిడ షీ గోస్ టు రిటైర్ టు బెడ్ అని అంటారు. మీకంత సూపర్ ఫోకస్ యునో ఎక్కడి నుంచి డిరైవ్ చేస్తారా స్ట్రెంగ్త్? జనరలీ దే సే ఇట్స్ let me put it this way, pratibhimbam, a reflection of your dad. Do you feel that you have derived that from your dad in some way?
Unlike other parents, they've been a very pivotal part of me growing up, not just my teenage life but also my adulthood, because I traveled with my mom for 9 years of my career, and dad even till date takes care of my work. So technically I still work with my father, and so our connection has as a kid, when I started to work, and I was 15 when I started working, their guidance was extremely crucial, and I was dealing with people who were double my age. So for me, all the guidance came from my father, who is a businessman, who has of course seen a lot of life. So for me, all my knowledge, all my guidance came from there, because I had to abruptly stop studying because I just couldn't cope up with the stress of shooting 4 films at a time and continuing my education. So for me, a lot of my knowledge, a lot of my sense of judgment came from the conversations I would have with him as a young girl. And even today, I think we constantly have this give and take of thoughts and ideologies. And I think that's what keeps me enriched. And there are so many facets of life which I don't get exposed to because I'm constantly in a very creative process. So it could be, related to what's happening in the world, something history related, politics, because I tend to go into my world of films and my job. For me, a lot of my information comes from my father. Whenever I sit and chat with him, I get to know, and I also get a perspective that inevitably I agree to, because I think we as a family have been very unified on a simple thought that we have to be righteous, and not for like, it's not to showcase or to like present something to anyone, but it's just for our own satisfaction. That's how we are built as people, and that's our like our core value. So, and I've done the same thing in my career. I haven't done anything differently. I've been honest to my profession, and more than that, I think నేను చాలా లక్కీ. అమ్మ నాన్న చిన్నప్పుడే నన్ను నా ప్రొఫెషన్ లోకి ఎంటర్ అవడానికి వాళ్ళు సపోర్ట్ చేశారు. ఆ వయసులో మోస్ట్ పేరెంట్స్ అలౌ చేయరు అనుకుంటున్నాను, బికాస్ వాళ్ళు చెప్తారు, ఓకే యూ షుడ్ స్టడీ ఫస్ట్. నేను ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ని చాలా నమ్ముతాను, అది చాలా ముఖ్యమైన విషయం. బట్ at that point, if my parents had not encouraged me, maybe I wouldn't have been able to achieve this much in my work sphere, or at least I wouldn't have spent these number of years.
So that makes me ask you both a question. Tamanna is very intelligent, and Tamanna is చాలా ఏకసంతాగ్రాహి అంటాము. అంటే ఎనీ లాంగ్వేజ్, మీరు ఏ లాంగ్వేజ్ అయినా సరే ఇలా పట్టేస్తారు. మీ మదర్ టంగ్, వాట్ ఈస్ యువర్ మదర్ టంగ్? సో యూ స్పీక్ సింధీ అట్ హోమ్. తెలుగు అచ్చం మన ఇంట్లో మాట్లాడినట్టు మీరు తెలుగు మాట్లాడేస్తున్నారు. లీలగా ఇలా మాట్లాడేస్తున్నారు తెలుగు. అండ్ I heard you speak in Hindi as well, and you're very good with English, and you have done a lot of films in other languages. So as we speak with other people who have worked with you, అందరూ మీతో పనిచేసిన వాళ్ళందరూ ఏంటంటే, తమన్నా ఇలా క్యాచ్ చేస్తుంది, ఒకవేళ ఏమన్నా అర్థం కాకపోతే నేర్చుకుంటుంది అని అంటారు. సో ఇంత ఇంటెలిజెన్స్, ఇంత నాలెడ్జ్ ఉండి, అండ్ ఆల్సో యూ ఐ విల్ గెట్ టు దట్ లేటర్, బిజినెస్ లో కూడా మీరు ఆ మధ్యలో మీరు వచ్చారు, జ్యువెలరీ బిజినెస్ లో. ఇన్ని కోణాలు ఉన్న మీరు ఒక ఐఏఎస్, ఒక ఐపీఎస్, లేకపోతే చాయిస్ ఆఫ్ ప్రొఫెషన్స్ ఆర్ డిఫరెంట్, రైట్? సో వై ఇస్ ఇట్ దట్ యూ చోజ్ films? Was it something that just happened to you, or did you take an interest in it and did you move towards that profession? Because మీరు చాలా చిన్న వయసులో స్టార్ట్ చేశారు ఫిల్మ్స్.
చిన్నప్పుడే యాక్చువల్లీ ఐ హ్యాడ్ దట్ స్ట్రేంజ్లీ నేను ఒక చాలా క్లారిటీతో ఉన్న చిన్నపిల్ల. వెన్ ఐ స్టార్టెడ్ డూయింగ్ థియేటర్ అట్ ది ఏజ్ ఆఫ్ 12 అండ్ అప్పుడు నాకు ఆ క్లారిటీ వచ్చింది దట్ ఐ వాంట్ టు బి అన్ యాక్టర్. అఫ్ కోర్స్ ఎలా అవ్వాలనే క్లారిటీ అప్పుడు లేదు, బికాస్ నేను ఫిల్మ్ ఇండస్ట్రీ నుంచి కాదు, మా ఫ్యామిలీ అందరూ ఇదర్ ఇంటూ ద మెడికల్ ప్రొఫెషన్ ఆర్ దే ఆర్ బిజినెస్ మెన్. సో ఎసెన్షియలీ ఇన్ మై ఫ్యామిలీ ఆర్ నోబడీ ఫ్రమ్ ద మూవీస్. సో ఇది ఎలా కుదురుతుందని అప్పుడు నాకు ఐడియా లేదు. బట్ టు మై గుడ్ ఫార్చ్యూన్ ఐ వాజ్ ప్రెజెంటెడ్ విత్ ఆపర్చునిటీస్ వన్ ఆఫ్టర్ అనదర్ అండ్ I just went with the flow. I didn't try to be honest, I was never prepared for anything that came my way.
కొంతమందికి ఉంటుంది కదా చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి నాకు యాక్టర్ అవ్వాలి, లేకపోతే
I had that.
inclination towards some profession. So did you have that inclination
Yes.
towards? So you mentioned theater చేశాను అని అన్నారు. What can you share a few things about your theater, like when you started?
So I was in school and it was a summer vacation. And అమ్మ నాన్న ఎప్పుడు నన్ను ఏదో ఒక నేర్చుకుంటూ ఉండాలి ఆ వయసులో, బికాస్ యూర్ లైక్ అ స్పాంజ్ అట్ దట్ ఏజ్, as the amount you can take from whatever you get exposed to, you absorb that. సో అమ్మ నాన్న అడిగారు నీకు ఏం చేయాలని కోరిక ఉంది. సో ఐ సెడ్ ఇలా పృథ్వీ థియేటర్ ఉంది ముంబైలో, వాళ్ళు అక్కడ వర్క్ షాప్స్ కండక్ట్ చేస్తారు, సో అక్కడ నేను జాయిన్ అవ్వాలి. సో దే హెల్ప్ మీ, దే గాట్ మీ అడ్మిషన్ అండ్ యా, and then I became a part of one of the theater groups which was conducted by Neeraj Kavi. He's quite a established actor. He does some great work right now. He does a lot of work on a lot of films that we all have. But back in the day, he was the one who was just kind of guiding so many different kids who were interested in the performing arts, and he was training them completely just because he enjoyed doing that. Literally, it was not a commercial venture at all. And we're very, very thankful to Neeraj Kavi, who was my teacher when I was young.
So your journey, మీ జర్నీ థియేటర్ నుండి స్టార్ట్ అయింది at a very young age, and thanks to your parents. I know అందరూ ఎక్స్ట్రా కరికులర్ యాక్టివిటీస్ చెయ్యాలి అని ప్రోత్సహిస్తూ ఉంటారు పేరెంట్స్. ఇక్కడ కూడా మాకు యుఎస్ లో కూడా ఎవ్రీ సమ్మర్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు గో ఫర్ డాన్స్, సంథింగ్ టు ఎన్హాన్స్ యువర్ పర్సనాలిటీ, అండ్ దట్ ఆర్ట్ విల్ స్టే విత్ యూ ఫర్ అ లైఫ్. So that's wonderful to know a little bit of your beginnings of your journey into this.
ఇప్పుడు చెప్పు, ఎవరు నువ్వు?
నేను చెప్పింది నిజం. ఆ నీటికొని
బాబు, అది ఆ మహాశివుడు మాత్రమే చేయగలిగే పని.
అదే కదా.
సో తమన్నా గారు, మీ గురించి ఒక విషయం మా ఆడియన్సెస్ అందరికీ సుపరిచితులే, వాళ్ళందరికీ తెలుసు, అయినా నేను అడుగుతాను ఈరోజు. తమన్నా గారు చేసినట్టు డాన్స్ ఎవ్వరూ చేయలేరు. తమన్నా గారు చేసిన మూవ్స్ అసలు మళ్ళీ ఇంకొకళ్ళు చెయ్యాలంటే అది చాలా కష్టతరం, మన వల్ల ఏ పని కాదు. షీఈస్ ఎక్సలెంట్ విత్ హర్ డాన్స్ అండ్ షీ డస్ సచ్ అ ఫెంటాస్టిక్ జాబ్ in not mimicking, but a lot of people mimic, but you are original, because even in the Hindi films that you have done, Telugu nundi Hindi తీసిన సినిమాల్లో కూడా మీరు ఒరిజినల్ గా కొన్ని డాన్సెస్ మీరు చేసినవి ఉన్నాయి. సో అసలు ఈ జర్నీలో మీరు డాన్స్ అనేది ముందు నుంచి నేర్చుకున్నారా చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి, లేకపోతే డిడ్ యూ పిక్ ఇట్ అప్ ఆన్ యువర్ వే? షేర్ us a little bit about it, because it is very hard absolutely to do what you do.
Actually, Rupa, it's not that. I think today's time everyone's very good. Most of the people who work in the movies are all very, very good dancers. They all especially some of them are very well trained, and some of them are really, really brilliant at what they do.
But did you receive training as in such, particularly for dance, for you to be able to, it syncs so well on screen? Did you particularly learn and hone your skill on this, or did you learn it through your journey from film to film?
I'm not a trained dancer. I just enjoy dancing, and I think that's probably the reason why people also relate to me. Because for me, it's not about like, maybe I'm not so much about technique, because I myself haven't been a trained dancer. So whatever I've learned is by watching and performing, and whatever I learn on set by from all my choreographers who train. So I think that's where it comes from. But primarily comes from the fact that I really enjoy dance, and I think my idea of doing a dance number is always to not just ace the step, but also to give a feeling to the audience who's watching that they should feel like dancing. I think that emotion is more important.
So మీరు ఎంజాయ్ చేశారు డాన్స్. So tell us, what is the form of dance that you enjoy the most?
Everything, Andy. Of course, for me, filmy or Indian filmy or the Western dance forms, it's more easy to adapt. But what I'm really heart of hearts, what I really want to train in is Indian classical. And in fact, when in Saira, I had to be an Indian classical dancer. I had to train for it. Of course, a lot of those parts were not a part of the film, so whatever I performed did not stay in the. It was not eventually a part of what you saw of the film. But yeah, I mean, for me, Indian classical is something that even scares me even now. Like, although I feel like you can train for as many years as you want, and still it's not good enough.
So thank you for sharing that with us. తమన్నా గారు, ఇప్పుడు ఫాదర్స్ డే సందర్భంగా మీ సీక్రెట్స్ కొన్ని ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయి అంటే మీ ఫాదర్ ని అడగచ్చా?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sure he'll be happy to.
So Bhatia ji, on Father's Day, please share with us a few things, like you shared about Saturday and her trinket shopping. She used to look forward to that. So Abhi Papa went to work or he came back and he's going to get me something. Just like how she used to wait for Saturday. Was there something, because people say my dad used to make me read the newspaper. My dad used to, I attribute my reading skills to that, because though I didn't like it at that point, I never used to like it at that time, but now I look back and I appreciate that. So did you instill something in her like that she looked forward to, or she used to run away from, but she had to do it?
In fact, even in our house, we never had anything which was compulsive. It had to be done, and there was no very strict regime of things. But we were basic. We were always followed a very basic life and basic approach. And I or my wife, we were not really that way. In fact, we were very liberal in the sense that I would, again relate one more thing about her school time. Whether it was my son or whether it was Tamanna. On a particular day, they got dressed for the school, but they really didn't want to go to the school. And we say, okay, you sit down, you stay back. We'll go out for a movie or we'll do something. So we were liberal to that extent.
I think that's also the reason that as kids we were given the freedom to think of what we really want to do and take what we should eventually take seriously in our life seriously, versus I think if we would have had a very serious upbringing or a very serious childhood where everything's about academics or everything's about achieving, it's like running a marathon, right? Which I think Dad normally does. You can't run a marathon every day, so
you have to let life flow as it comes.
I remember Dad getting us a lot of toys. Like for me, it was I loved Barbie dolls, and Dad would actually spoil me with every new thing that came in the market. And whenever I wanted something, I'd be like, "Listen, I want this." And I had this thing for mermaids. I don't know why, but as a young girl, I had this obsession. And my brother loved GI Joes for whatever reason. So we grew up with this bunch of toys that were constantly that Dad would normally, whenever he would
Barbie
travel,
dolls and GI Joes. Okay.
yeah, Dad would always we'd have a list of things that we wanted, and so we were quite pampered from that in that sense. And those were the fun times, because Dad used to travel and come back, and then all we would be waiting for is gifts and stuff which we could play with. So we were quite spoiled that way. And yeah, otherwise it's been a very, very as a household, I think we've all been a very, very chilled out family. We don't have everybody just is free to do and be as they want to be.
That was lovely to hear about the Barbie dolls and you looking forward. మీ చిన్నప్పుడు మెమరీ అది, గ్రోయింగ్ అప్ మీ ఫాదర్ వర్క్ నుంచి తిరిగి వచ్చేటప్పుడు తీసుకొచ్చి మీ brother ki GI Joes, మీకు Barbie dolls, which is why you had a penchant for mermaids and you are a mermaid today.
Thank
you. You are very, very welcome, and you are truly a mermaid with a lot of distinct personality and one of the stronger women that I have interviewed. who is an extension and a reflection of a very strong man in all ways, that we see in the form of Tamanna. On Father's Day, I would also like to ask you, Tamanna, if there was one thing, ఒకటి మనం చిన్నప్పటి నుంచి మన గ్రోయింగ్ ఏజ్ అయిపోతున్న కొద్దీ అడల్ట్స్ కింద వెళ్ళాక when we turn back in our journey, అయ్యో నాన్నకి ఇది చెప్పలేదే, చెప్దాం అనుకున్నాను, నాన్నకి ఎప్పుడు ఇది చెప్పలేదే అని అనుకుంటాం. అలా ఏదైనా మీరు నాన్నకి చెప్పలేదు, చెప్పాలని అనుకున్నాను, మర్చిపోయాను అని ఇవాళ మేము మిమ్మల్ని మీకు గుర్తు చేసి ఫాదర్స్ డే కాబట్టి, ఇఫ్ దేర్ ఇస్ వన్ థింగ్ దట్ యూ వుడ్ turn to your father, look at him and say, Papa, and I will leave the rest to you. Please say it for us, and we will take that as your wishes for a Father's Day and watch it as
I would have actually, I wish I had something emotional to say, but the fact remains, I think we're really like friends.
Oh no,
And
it doesn't need to be emotional.
I talk to him so much that I think we both are like, okay, let's just not meet each other for a while because we're overexposed to each other. And thanks to the lockdown, we are in each other's face. So I really appreciate all your attempts to make this an emotional end. But the fact remains
No,
that
not emotional. But we had to say something to the father, so we needed to take a frame as to.
So he is like, maybe you can say I'm like a female version. So there's really nothing
The
that is
reflection
not
of your
said
dad.
between the two of us. If there is someone who knows the most about me, or even knows how I think, or even knows why I do things in a certain way that other people might not understand, it would be my father. And he always is someone who understands my actions without any question on it, or as to, he never tries to impose himself on me. He lets me do what I want to do and has faith in my decision.
That is wonderful to hear from you, Tamanna. And thank you for sharing that with us and taking all your time, both of you. As I see you, I interview a lot of people, but I see that, you know, it's a wonderful friend kind of relationship that you both have with each other. And I hope to see this, you know, continue. And when we do the next interview too, I'll try to, you know, have a similar conversation.
సార్ నేను తీసుకొచ్చింది అందుకే 2 రోజులు మీ అండర్లో బాగా రుద్దేస్తే నేను ఫీల్ వాడుకుంటా.
వాడుకో
Bhatia ji, this question is for you. Just forget that Tamanna is there next to you, and or even if she's okay as your friends, I see that, you know, she may not mind. What is the favorite movie, or, you know, 1 or 2 movies that you could say that are your favorite of what Tamanna has done?
It means my favorite movie of Tamanna is the Happy Days.
Happy Days. Her first film, I mean, when she started off, that was Happy Days.
They were among the first films. It was
It's my sixth or my seventh.
sixth or seventh film.
6 or 7, but
First film which was really very popular. That was really, there's a film I remember, and throughout the shoot for that film, I and my wife, we both were with her throughout the shooting of the film. So we saw her through the making of the film until the film was released. It was
okay.
Absolutely. That was one film that was really memorable.
So, Tamanna, the most memorable film that your father has of you is Happy Days. That is, you know, మాకు చాలా సంతోషకరమైన విషయం ఏంటంటే మిమ్మల్ని సినిమాలు చేయనిచ్చారు, లేకపోతే మిమ్మల్ని మేము ఎలా చూసేవాళ్ళం. We would not have had Tamanna in our lives.
Happy Days చూడలేరు వాళ్ళు ఎలా చేయకపోతే.
So it's lovely that you were able to share that with us. Thank you so much. And Tamannah garu, Bhatia garu, ee roju మీ విలువైన సమయాన్ని మా టీవీ ఏషియా తెలుగు వాళ్ళకి మీరు అందజేసినందుకు చాలా చాలా సంతోషం. We appreciate during this COVID lockdown that, you know, you were able to share your positive thoughts as well as the wonderful relationship that a father and a daughter have, leading way, paving the good thought process for so many people to learn some wonderful nuances from this interview that both of you have provided us. Thank you so much, and wish you a very, very happy Father's Day from all of us, and thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much.